Hello, Seth Peterson with Realty Executives here. Hoping to just take 5 minutes or so to explain, what I do for my buyer clients. In other words, what can you expect from me if we're going to work together? I guess to start off, the main thing that I would want to say is I want to empower the buyer to make good, confident decisions. I want to give them, and I think the way to do that is to give information and knowledge and help you get to a point where you're comfortable with what's going on, and then when it comes time to make an offer, you're comfortable with the offer that you're making, and you're confident that it's a good decision, and the price and the terms that we have set are make sense and are reasonable, and that you're comfortable moving forward with it. So I feel with anything, I think with more information and more knowledge, you can make better and more confident decisions. So that's kind of the ultimate goal. And I guess with that is taking stress away, taking worry away, and making this process easier and more fun. And again, less stressful. I mean, it's a large purchase, and I understand it's a pretty stressful thing for a lot of people. So I'm hoping to take that stress away and just make it a better experience for you. More practically, in terms of the buying process. So first off, I would want to set up a search on the MLS. It's going to be a detailed search, much more detailed than any of the consumer websites can offer. So that as soon as anything hits the market on the MLS, you're going to get an email immediately as soon as it hits the market, and then we can go take a look at that house if it's something you're interested in. So we don't want to wait a day or a few days until we notice it on Zillow or something like that. And oftentimes it doesn't hit those consumer sites until hours or maybe even a day after it hits the MLS. So even if we're right on top of looking at those consumer sites, we still might be kind of behind the eight ball a little bit. So that's up front. One of the things we're going to do right away, get that search set up so we start seeing these listings and not missing any of them. You certainly can be looking on Zillow and Realtor.com and whatever else. In addition to it, I know a lot of times buyers tell me what they're looking for, and then they email me about these houses that don't fit the criteria that they gave me. So I know that does happen. So certainly feel free to keep looking. In terms of our MLS search, that's going to be based on what you tell me your needs are, and then anything that fits that criteria is going to be automatically emailed to you right away. So as we're getting those emails, and maybe you're still looking on Zillow and so forth, and then basically anytime you see something that you're interested in or you have a question about or whatever, anything related to real estate, just let me know. Email me, text me, call me. I'm your go-to guy for anything involving your search for a house. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And in terms of going to look at houses, I will be the guy to, I'll schedule all those showings. So you just tell me what you want to see. We'll figure out a night that works or a day that works or whatever. And then we'll go look at them. So I'll set them up. I'll take the time to get those scheduled and figure out which one to go to first and which one we end at and all that stuff. So you just have to tell me, what houses that you want to look at, and I'll figure out the rest basically. So once we get that scheduled, we start looking at houses. As we're looking at houses, I will point out different positives and negatives that I see about the house, and a lot of that is just things that I've picked up over the years from looking at houses and from seeing inspection reports and what things might come up. Like what's a potential issue here. So I'm pretty good at now pointing out those things that, hey, this might be an issue here. Let's watch for that. If we write an offer, let's make sure to mention this here. So as we're looking at houses, I'll be giving those little tidbits and those pieces of advice and kind of things to look out for. So hopefully that helps with your process of the pros and cons of the house and so forth. Once we find a house that you want to buy, then it's time to write an offer. So I will write that offer with you. I'll go over that with you. I'll answer any questions that you might have. But in addition to that, there's various terms, obviously like the purchase price, but also closing date, earnest money, contingencies. So different terms that we need to decide. What are we going to do? That's the crux of our offer to the seller. So that's where I'll certainly come in and give you advice, and again, give you information. We'll look at the comps and see, what other homes are selling for. So I'll share with you a market analysis so we can really pin down what we think the house is worth, as well as looking at the market. Like right now it's a seller's market, so we might run into a situation with other buyers who are interested and maybe they're writing offers also. So then we have to think about that. So I'll give my advice on that whole situation, and whatever the situation might be, whether there are other buyers or not, and how we want to play that. What should our offer be right off the bat? Should it be a great offer or a little bit lower? So all that stuff, we'll talk about, and I'll come in with the experience that I have, as well as the market analysis and the research and the information that I'm going to provide. So that should help you make a good, confident decision. So we'll make that offer, and perhaps we'll get a counter offer, perhaps they'll accept it, and maybe we counter back and forth. Whatever the case might be, we'll get to an accepted offer. So once we have the accepted offer, then there's that contract to close period of time. And so during that period of time, I'm going to be watching all those deadlines, making sure we don't miss anything. We don't want to miss our inspection contingency. We want to make sure that we act on that in time. Same thing with your financing. You need a loan commitment letter by a certain date. If we're not, I'll contact your lender and make sure that we get that on time, and that they're not procrastinating, too long. So yeah, from contract to close, I'll make sure that we're not missing anything and that we're on top of all of our contingencies and our dates and our deadlines. And then we get to a closing, and the goal really is that I do nothing at closing, that I just sit there and watch you sign your name like 100 times. So that's the goal, and closing is typically about an hour or so, kind of depends. And that's if you're getting a loan. If you don't have a loan and you're paying cash, closing should only be like 10 minutes. Anyway, so then that's the end of the process, and hopefully you're happy with your house, and that is that. So hopefully this was helpful, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.